Hey guys, what's going on? Bryce here from Nautical T4R, and today we're going to be installing the Alpharex Pro Series headlights on the 4runner. We're going to be changing out the factory headlights for these aftermarket black with the LED trim on the outside of it that has sequential turn signal. It just has the standard halogen headlights in there. It doesn't have any LEDs, but it is upgradable. I'll put the specs to the Pro Series headlights probably down in the description below. Or somewhere up here. I'll let you guys take a look at that one so you guys can see it. They do have different versions and different price points of their series that Alpharex has. Today we're just going to be going over the Pro Series headlights, those are the ones that I purchased in the black, just so you guys can see from what the baseline model is, and then again it is upgradable from there. And if you want to go with their Lux series or their I forget what the name of the higher price point is, but they have a higher price point too. You guys can go in there. Those have the LED projectors in them, and then has all the different other bells and whistles that come with them. But we're just going with the basic Pro Series headlights today. Should be a fairly easy install. It's a little cumbersome just because you have to take off the whole front bumper in order to replace it, which we'll show you guys that whole process whenever we do that one. And then the headlights are fairly easy to swap out. It's all kind of plug and play. To take the old ones out and put the new ones in, and we'll show you guys the whole process in that one. So we'll go ahead and get things started. Alright guys, now for the removal of your front bumper and front air dam to access the headlights, you're going to be using these following steps that we're going to be doing. You're going to be needing mainly a flat tip screwdriver or a pry tool if you guys have one, and a 10mm socket and a ratchet or even a 10mm wrench to go ahead and remove some of the bolts that are in there. What you're going to do to start out with, you're going to take out some of the little pop tabs over here. You remove these guys to take out this front fascia over here, this front air dam. Once you go ahead and do that, then you'd move with your 10mm to remove 10mm from inside the fender well here, 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 and there's also two more under here as well. One right here and one right here. Or sorry, not that one, this one right here. So once you go ahead and remove these guys, you move some of the fender liner out of the way, and then you basically just pull on the front bumper. You just pull off from here and you should hear it pop. Just be careful when you're doing it, you don't want to damage anything. Go ahead and pull off the front bumper here. You're going to go ahead and pop it off, and then go ahead and set this aside. If you want to, go ahead and lay some towels out or something just to make sure you don't damage any of the paint or anything on your front bumper from there. Once we do that, I'll show you guys the removal of this one, and then also where we need to take out the bolts for these factory OEM headlights. We'll go ahead and show you guys what's going on. Alright, so once you go ahead and remove these things, the little tabs, go ahead and set them aside somewhere so they don't get lost, because they are little. And then all you're going to do from here is just take out this piece right here and go ahead and set this one aside. Alright, so there's another portion of it that I forgot to mention. There's another 10mm right here that goes between a little support that goes from your radiator, your core support, to your bumper. Go ahead and remove that bolt, as well as there are two more little tabs in here and over here on the same side. Once you go ahead, almost the same kind of tabs, just get your either flat tip screwdriver or a pry bar or a pry tool, and you go ahead and stick it underneath the little tab and pull up on it, and all you have to do is just go ahead and remove it from that piece like so, right? Alright guys, so when you're taking the portion of it out here from the fender well, what you're going to want to do is either use your flat tip screwdriver or a pry tool, if you have like a trim tool, and go ahead and pull these tabs back. What you're going to end up doing is going underneath this side over here. Again, if you're using a flat tip screwdriver, be sure to be careful because it can damage your paint. But you're going to go ahead and pull up underneath this portion of it here and try to pop that guy out. Same portion right here. Move that guy out. The other part on the very top one, you're going to want to go from the back side of it and go ahead and pry it down the opposite direction, just to make sure you go ahead and pop it loose. Alright, so this one did give me a little bit of trouble, but you can see here how this one came out from the underside of that one. Make sure you go in there and don't damage too hard, because that's a thin little piece, and you could damage this one a lot if you end up putting too much force on it. But once you guys get over here, then you can pull this portion of it back. Pull those guys forward to pop them out. And push that fender liner forward, and then from here you should just be able to pop a little bit of it out, a little bit at a time. Just be sure to be easy, because again, this is plastic. These pieces are plastic right here, and it can be damaged, so be sure to be careful on this portion right here. Alright guys, moving forward from the fender and the fender liner, once you come back underneath here, this is underneath the front part. Underneath the front part of the car, there are 2 more bolts, 10 millimeters you got to take off right here, as well as on the other side of the skid plate right here. So go ahead and remove these 2, and then from there you can go ahead and pull the rest of the bumper off, as well as repeating the same steps that we did over here over on the other side, and then go ahead and pop that off. Then we can be able to disconnect the fog lights. Okay guys, so one thing I did forget to mention is that there are more tabs underneath the front part of the top portion of your bumper and your air dam. If you go underneath there, there's more tabs. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. But you're gonna have to use that pry tool or screwdriver and go ahead and pop them up and remove them, because if not, when you pull on the bottom side of the bumper, that part's going to stay connected, and you're basically going to flex against it, and it could damage that part and basically rip the bottom part of your bumper off from the top part of your bumper, which is not good. Alright guys, so once you go ahead and get the bumper removed, what you're going to do, when we talked about the fog lights, is your fog light connection is right here. So what you're going to end up doing is just disconnect this little pigtail right here, so that way you do not yank in these cords as you're trying to pull the bumper off. All it is just a simple little pinch connection. All you have to do is just pinch it and then pull it out. Alright guys, and from there, once you go ahead and disconnect it, all you got to do is just pull straight out on your bumper, supporting with both hands on both sides. Around the front and the center of it. You should just be able to pull it straight off, and you can go ahead and set it aside. The one thing I did notice on mine, when I set it aside, when I removed the fog lights on the driver's side, all you have to do is disconnect the pigtail down here. But on the passenger side, they had this little protective cup on it, or this protective shield on it, not knowing, I don't know if this is just a me thing. Again, mine's 2019 TRD off-road, so I don't know if this is just my style, my year. If any of you guys have that, let me know down in the comments. I didn't know what that one was for, why they only had it on the passenger side and not the driver's side as well. A mystery to me. But all I gotta do is just reach up underneath there, and then you can grab the pigtail, pinch it, and just pull it out. And then again, once you guys get it, go ahead and set it aside. And then from here, we can get working to remove the headlights. Alright guys, so when you're around front and you're going to go take off the OEM headlights to put in the new headlights, there's going to be 4 bolts that you're going to have to take off. There's a little trim piece inside your engine compartment right here. All you have to do is just peel that back a little bit, and there'll be 1 bolt right here. 1, 2, 3 right here on this little core support, and then 4 is going to be down here on the bottom of the headlight. So once you remove those 4, all you have to do is just disconnect the pigtails at the back of the headlight, disconnect the wiring at the back of the headlight. Once you pinch those and pull them off, then this headlight should pop right out and be easy. Guys, once you go ahead and get everything removed, what you're going to do is you're going to pull back straight out on your headlight. This top little bracket right here is going to be connected through these portions up here, so go ahead and be sure to lift up, but don't yank those off because you can damage these little tabs. But once you go ahead and pull it off, you guys can see how it has all the wiring on the back side of it for your high beams, low beams, and even your turn signal here. All you're going to do is just take those and just disconnect the portions of them as well on those little pigtails. And then from there, all you're going to do is just remove the rest of the headlight. That's it. On your turn signal over here, on your turn signal, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to end up pulling it, twisting it and pulling it out, so you have your halogen bulb right here, right? And then what you're going to do, go ahead and set this aside. And then on this one, what you're going to do is you're going to end up removing this portion from the actual light housing itself, because this portion is going to connect to the bulb that's already installed inside the Alpharex headlights. So again, all this one is right here. It's just a simple push down like that, and you just slide that right off. So this connection right here is going to end up going on the new Alpharex headlights, so you don't need to use this bulb anymore. You can go ahead and put this back in your OEM headlight. Alright guys, once you've removed the headlight itself from your OEM headlight, set it aside like on a table like we have here. The only thing that's different about the OEM to the Alpharex that you can see is that it has the bracket that goes right here that's held on by these 3 screws. 1, 2, 3, right? So all you're going to do is remove that bracket from the factory portion of it and just move it over to the Alpharex headlights on the new one. It's really cool that Alpharex had it set up like that, so all it is basically just plug and play from your OEM to the aftermarket ones in here. Easy setup on that one. So all you're going to do is just remove these 3, 1, 2, 3, remove that bracket, go ahead and place it on here. When you take your headlight out and set it over on the table, be sure to turn it upside down, and that bracket is going to be on the bottom portion of your headlight. So once you remove those 3 screws, just attach them to the new one, and then from there all you got to do is just go ahead and reinstall the new one and then rewire up the connectors from there. Alright guys, so once you go ahead and get the bottom bracket installed down here, when you take it off your OEM one, again, all it is just 3 screws, 1, 2, 3. You remove those from the old one, put them on the new one. This guy's ready to go ahead and go in. So once we go ahead and slide it in, all we're going to be doing again is just connecting all of these factory wiring harnesses up to the headlight itself. Again, it's just kind of plug and play. We can go from there and then just tighten down those 4 screws again. 1, 2, 3, and then 4 down there. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. We'll see how it works. Biggest thing is removing the film. Ooh, man. Alright guys, and then once you go ahead and get it installed like so, took me a little bit to get the wires finagled in there. Some of them are a little shorter than the factory ones, but you just got to get in there and try to get your hands in there to make sure you connect all the wiring harnesses up there. There's going to be one pigtail connection that isn't going to be connected to anything. That one is because that's for the connection that we're going to wire up here in just a bit for the sequential turn signals for these headlights. So instead of having just the bulb that blinks, it's going to have the sequential turn signal over here on the front that actually swoops as you guys are doing it. So we're going to go ahead and install these 4 bolts in here to secure this guy in there. Then all we're going to do is just repeat the same process on the passenger side. And then once we get done with that, we'll go ahead and show you how to wire up the sequential turn signals. So I'm going to tighten these up, and then I'm going to repeat the process on the passenger side, and then we'll get back to it. Alright guys, so once you get the headlights installed, you get everything in there and you get it all tightened down where you need it to, and the pigtails are connected. The other portion of it is that when you're going to get in the kit now, you're going to get this wiring harness right here. This allows you to run the DRL function, the daytime running light function, from all the headlights. The step with this one is that you have to take this wiring harness right here. It has a fuse already in it, and what you're going to do is you're going to end up tapping into one of the fuses inside this relay panel back behind your battery, and it's going to be a 10 amp fuse back here that you're going to remove, install in here, and then replace this in its spot. And what that's going to do, it's going to allow power to go from your battery into here, into your headlights, in order to run your DRL function. And that's going to go through here, which is really cool. On this one, they actually provide you with an inline fuse, which is great because you have several redundancies of protection inside there for electrical systems. And then you're going to have 2 different connectors. One that comes with the harness, one that goes here, that's a shorter one, as you guys can see, and another one that's a lot longer that's going to go from one side to the other side and connect both headlights together. And what you're going to do is you're going to end up connecting this part to another red wire at the very bottom of your headlight, and you're going to place this cover over it, and then this will end up keeping like a watertight seal on there as well, just to make sure that nothing is an issue in there. So once you do that and you install those 2, you can run your DRL function. The other part of it is that you're going to have a red and a black wire. So you're going to have your positive and your negative, or a ground wire. And what you're going to do from here is you're going to connect this to your positive side of your battery, and then this is going to go to a 10mm bolt on the inside of your fender over here, where that's going to end up being your ground connection. So that'll help complete the circuit and make sure everything stays safe. So we'll go ahead and connect this guy to your positive, this guy to your ground, and then we'll hook everything up. Hopefully everything will go well, and we'll have the DRL functions with the headlights. So once you get done wiring everything inside the engine compartment, run the one little red wire that comes from the other part of the harness through this little gap right here back behind the headlight assembly. Run that back through here, and what you're going to do is you're going to connect this wire to this red wire here that comes down off your headlights. You're going to go ahead and slide these two on here together, and then slide this protective sleeve over it. And what that's going to do is allow you to run your DRL function between both headlights. And there's another wire that looks just like this, except it's a lot longer. You're going to run that from here all the way to the other side of the headlight, and then connect it the exact same way onto the back of your headlight in order to run the DRL assembly. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll get to it. Hopefully everything is good to go. We should have it wired up correctly. We'll go ahead and do a test run on it, and we'll see if everything works the way it should. One thing I want to talk to you guys about more whenever you have these headlights in here, right? We talked about these are the Pro Series headlights, so they don't have the LED bulbs in them themselves. These are just going to be projector housings. You guys can see here, projector housings in there with the halogen bulbs in there as well. Same thing with the halogen turn signals and the side markers here. If you wanted to, excuse me, at some point in time, you could be able to put LEDs in there if you wanted to. And you can do that for the turn signals as well as the headlights and even your high beams. The one issue that I do find in here is that whenever you're installing them, unlike your old factory headlights, the high beams are the only ones that you guys can get at without removing the entire assembly again, because the regular low beam ones are all the way back here, and it's hard to get in there to be able to remove those, just to remove that dust cover and be able to put LEDs in there if you wanted to as well. The only ones you can really access right now are going to be your high beams. The other good thing about these ones, which is really cool, is that it actually has the factory adjustments as well. So these are fully adjustable, same concept as you would for your OEM headlights. So if you wanted to adjust these in the beam pattern up or down to make sure they match, you can go ahead and do that on these ones as well. But other than that, overall, these are really good headlights. I like the look of them a lot. You can see it has the DRLs right here that's running, and those ones are running on both sides as well, which is really cool. The housing itself is blacked out again, and you can see that when we did the thing before with the headlights, you have the high beams and the low beams and your side markers, and they all work. They all are in there the way they need to be, and they are projecting the way they need to, which is really good. Easy setup. All it again is all it is plug and play. Everything is good on that end of it. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to clean up some wiring inside the engine compartment itself, where we have all the wiring harness and stuff, and we set up the DRLs in here. So we'll go ahead and clean up some of this wiring, make sure that everything looks good and everything's kind of out of the way once we start the engine and stuff, and then we'll go ahead and throw the front bumper back on and make sure everything is good to go and set up, and then we'll be done. All right, so first we're going to turn the ignition on, and you guys can see that the daytime running lights will end up coming on. The little LED bar will come on. So that right there is just the ignition on. No headlights turned on whatsoever yet. All this is right here is just these LED bars, and you can see how bright these things are just by themselves. Lights up the front of the garage itself, this whole portion of it. There's no lights on outside. All this is right here is just the LEDs from the headlights themselves. So we're going to go ahead and turn on the next portion. We'll go up one more from there to the daytime running lights. So that right there, you guys can see how I turned on those side markers. Turn on the side markers over here, and you guys can see their ambers. They come with it. So you have the ambers here as well as the ambers here. It gives a pretty good amount of light as they come on. And go up to the next portion of it. So those right there are going to be your headlights. You guys can see there, they got the projectors coming on. They give a pretty good amount of light coming through. You guys can see there, I'm not sure if the camera does these things very much justice, but and then as you guys can see the beam pattern as it comes off, It's got that good flat line right across there. You got a little bit of a dip right here, but you can correct that from the screw adjustments on the inside of the headlights. But it gives a pretty good projection straight across. It's got a good cutoff from where it goes in there. It doesn't have a lot of bleed through on either side. We'll get some more driving footage of that maybe on another time later on down the road. But you guys can see here, it's got these ones, the good projection right here for these lights. If you go ahead and hit the high beams, and those are going to be the high beams right there. You guys can see they project really, really well, and they're really, really bright down the road, as well as they still come in there. You guys see how they have both in there. Again, these are the non-LED bulbs in here, and you can see how it still has really good projection from there with those, with the projector headlights in there. But other than that, these are going to be your lights, and this is what it looks like at night in the driving time. Alright guys, and that was it. That was the install of the Alpharex Pro Series headlights. As you guys saw, it wasn't super crazy hard. There were some different parts in there where it got a little bit tricky trying to disconnect the fog lights from the bumper, as well as taking out some of the portions of the bumper, having to snap them off into different parts in there, having to remove and unsnap and put them all back together. But the removal of the headlights and the install of the new headlights was fairly easy. All it was just a few different bolts, and then just the pigtails that you clip in, clip out, and it's all could be done within a few hours of you guys doing it in your driveway at home. Again, super easy install on that one, nothing too crazy difficult. I hope you guys enjoyed the content that we had out there today. If you guys have any questions or comments, please be sure to leave them down below. Be sure to hit the like button, and be sure to subscribe, tell your friends, share this with anyone who you can. Definitely helps out the channel. So if you guys, again, if you like what you saw, be sure to hit the like button, comment down below, and stay tuned for more stuff down the road. All right, thanks again.